So starting the test drive in this Boxster here, with my window not being able to roll up, I'll have to scream, and I apologize. But again, in the summer, this car is, even with the window being broken and all that, so much fun to drive. So nice having that open top feel. But I've learned the hard way, and I did a lot of research on the Boxster, this 2000 specifically, before I bought this car. I looked at the Carfax. This thing had $8 grand worth of work, 500 miles before I bought it. And I guess the guy who put the 8 grand in this car in like 2022, 2023, he had enough, because then he sold it about 6 months after he had those two bills that were like 3,500 and almost 6 grand each. But this thing has had camshaft work, it's had a new water pump put on, it's had so much done to it. And again, it's a 25-year-old car, but it's just crazy how much was done and yet how much still needs to be done to get it right. And since I've had the car, I've replaced the air oil separator, which was also done 500 miles before the guy who had it before me sold it. So I think the shop that I took it to didn't do a good job at diagnosing the problem, because then they're like, oh, the vacuum leak actually was, like you said, it wasn't because of the AOS. But anyways, so I spent 1,200 bucks on that. Ended up getting new O2 sensors, thinking that would fix the leak in the, I didn't know what the problem was. I thought the vacuum leak was just fixed with the air oil separator, and then I got new O2 sensors, and I thought maybe that was why it kind of had that misfire to it. But come to find out, it was like I said. So basically I put in almost $2,000 into fixing this thing up, based on what a shop told me, and they're completely wrong. So that's another issue, is when you have a German car like this, people just think they can charge you whatever. And so much of the time, the best information you get is from forums, is from Google and from YouTube. And you take it to these people that are supposed to be professionals, and they can't even do what you're paying them to do. Like $150 diag fee, and you couldn't even diagnose the problem. But it is what it is. Another issue is, pretty sure my transmission mount and or my engine mounts are going out. So that'll be an expensive fix. And I'm just to the point where I just want to try something else, as opposed to having to keep fooling with this car, because you just can't find anybody to work on these that knows what they're doing. And the people that don't know what they're doing are charging prices like they know what they're doing, which is crazy. I'm gonna give it a pull here just to show it off. So still pretty quick, even with all the issues that it's having. And it's just so much fun to drive. Again, sometimes I just take this out to drive around because I love hearing the sound of the engine. I love hearing the exhaust note. I love feeling the shifts, because my other two vehicles are other three vehicles are a Chrysler Pacifica hybrid van, a Ford Mustang Mach-E, and a 1984 Chevy G30 Winnebago. So this is still, I mean, the Mach-E is sporty, but it doesn't have a true engine. And just getting behind the wheel of this thing is really still the most fun that I'll have, at least out of the fleet of cars I have now. Now, in terms of what I paid for this, I think I paid like 7,500 bucks, and then it was like $2 grand worth of garbage fees at Lee Auto Group. I will never shop there ever again. They were bad. But I will say the top worked on this car and it drove. It just, they cleared the check engine light and then didn't fix the vacuum leak. So 30 minutes down the road after leaving, and I drove 12 hours to get this car, the check engine light comes on. And that was my mistake. I should have known better. You gotta look at reviews, and their reviews were pretty loaded. But I learned my lesson. Don't buy a vehicle that you cannot fix yourself, because there's a good chance that that's what you'll have to do to get things right. Now, I will say the overall drivability of the car, just in terms of how strong the engine is, how the transmission shifts, is still phenomenal for a 25-year-old car. I love the feel of the mid-engine behind me. I love, again, the exhaust, how the car shifts. And this is a base Boxster, it's not even the S. It's just, it's quick, it's fun to drive. And it does get up to speed, because I don't think these are limited until like 150 miles per hour or something crazy. But you know, when people don't take care of cars, a lot of the times that's what ends up happening. You have a lot of the issues that I've had. So I can't really blame that on the Boxster as a whole. Now, my car in particular has had a ton of issues, but a lot of this stuff, if you have a garage and you have the tools, is not terrible. So like your engine mounts, transmission mounts, if you can jack this thing up, which is pretty much impossible to do unless you have a $200 jack, that'll make things easier. If you have a lift or something like that, you can probably do your O2 sensors as opposed to taking it to a shop to get them done. But most people that buy these cars don't necessarily work on cars. And that's why a lot of these shops around here especially will try and charge you a fortune, because they know you have nowhere else to go. But the heat still works in here, AC still works here. I really wish this window would roll up, but that's just part of it. And again, still a phenomenal car. Like, all the complaints I have are one-offs for the most part, but this car is so quick, so fun, and it's a classic. It really is. And it's just, even on a cold day like today, it's 50 degrees outside, it's still a joy just driving this. And heck, if I didn't have to record this video, I probably would have the top down, as I've had it down driving around in colder weather than this. If you're gonna have a Boxster, you better keep the top down most of the time. But I mean, still a fun car. I'm glad I got it. I'm just ready for something else. And this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2000 Porsche Boxster.